I started working maintenance after one of the worst experiences in my life. I was a contractor previous to this, and I did a commercial building, and the person didn't want to pay. They had spent the money, and it was a horrible issue. We did go to the registered contractors. We did win the case, but still, we still didn't get the money. So I started in this job as something just temporary. I was down on my luck, down on money, and it was just a bad moment in my life. And one day reading the newspaper, I found this maintenance job, and I said, I mean, I was a contractor. I had completed buildings, the whole, all the way from the ground up. Even though it was just a general contractor, so I didn't necessarily do everything, but I knew the whole process. So I started this type of work in a really, really bad place in my life, and I started doing this, and I hated it. I didn't want to do it for long. I just needed some money, and I figured I'll just do this for a little bit. And it's interesting because even though when I was really young, I had apartments, I had lived in apartments, I didn't realize the way apartment living is, the way it works. And I remember I used to, when I started, I hated it. I really hated it. I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to my ego being always so suppressed or so, I don't know what the word is, but I wasn't used to it. I remember I used to walk down the sidewalks in the complex, and to me it seemed like all these families lived in these little storage containers or little rooms, little square rooms, and everybody was living in there, and it was kind of odd, and I didn't. It was not a place where I wanted to be, but it was where destiny had put me. So needless to say, I didn't like this job. I hated it. I didn't know what to do. It was just a bad moment in my life. But something really interesting started happening. I started getting to know all these families that lived in these little containers or storage or apartments. And I started taking glimpses or snapshots of their life. Every time I did a work order, I started becoming friends with them. I started to get to know them. It was interesting because I knew this neighbor and I knew that neighbor, but they didn't know each other, or they just seen each other, and I knew a lot about everybody. And it was a job that I didn't like, but it started growing on me. Before, when I was a contractor, if I was dealing with a customer and they told me I want this wall pink and then that one green and then that one over there blue and that one purple, oh yeah, that's beautiful, because that was my customer and I wanted that contract. So whatever the customer wanted, and they were paying for it, so that's perfect. I never argued with the customer. Whatever they wanted, that's their vision, and I was just there to build it. So I had that concept in my mind. But when I started as a maintenance tech, it was really different, because the tenants, yeah, they want this, they want that, but they're not paying for it, or not necessarily. They're paying the rent, but doesn't mean they're paying for a new refrigerator this week and a new stove next week, and they're not paying for that. So it was really hard for me to change my mindset from customers to tenants. And I really hated it, because I would walk into a tenant's apartment, and this is not a negative video. This is a positive video about why I love being a maintenance technician. So even though I'm starting off sounding like it's a horrible job, I'll get to the good part in a bit. So I would go into people's apartments, and they wanted this, that, and the other, and of course I was there to fix it, not to change everything. And people were rude, people were mean. At least it seemed like that. I'd walk in there and they say, well, I need a new refrigerator and I need a new stove, and why are you even messing with that 20-year-old dishwasher? And I felt really my ego was kept on getting stomped, and I wasn't used to it. I was used to customers, not tenants. Slowly but surely, I started managing the situation to where I understood where everybody was coming from. I understood why the tenant was acting the way they were acting. I understood why they were upset when I walked in there. If the refrigerator's been out for 8 hours and they hadn't realized now their food's going bad. Now they're mad at you. They're not mad at you. They just want you to take care of it right now. No matter what, just fix my problem right now. And what do? I'm not going to go buy a new refrigerator right now. Even if I order it, it's not coming in. I haven't looked at it. I still got to make sure I can't fix it before we order a new one. It could just be a fan. A simple, $20 motor could be the whole thing. So we're not going to change it yet till we till we try and fix it. So it had its really negative parts, but then I started slowly but surely seeing the positive in it. I remember the first on-calls that I went, because, of course, maintenance techs, we have to be on call, and when it's our turn to be on call, it's 24/7. Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, whatever it is, you're on call, and if you get called, you got to go out there. And I used to hate it. I used to hate it when somebody called me at 2 a.m. because their AC was out or their heater was out. I remember I used to drive out there and I said, oh, man, I can't believe it, man. I was so comfortable in my bed. Now it's freezing outside. I got to go deal with this. And then I'd show up and it'd be maybe a mother of 2 or 3 with her little kids, and she needs a heater, and you do whatever you have to do. If you can't get on the roof, you go get some space heaters. You do whatever you do to make sure people are safe and warm or cool in the summer. Fix their air conditioner, bring them some portables. And then on your drive back, you're thinking, man, it's amazing that I got to help this family or this person or whoever it is. Doesn't matter. Because that was their moment of need. And in this job, I started really realizing that I actually like being somebody of service, being somebody that can help somebody, being somebody that can solve a problem, that can figure out what we need to do, how we're going to do this to help somebody out. And by the time I leave, make sure that person's happy. And it's not even about the money. It wasn't about being a customer or a tenant. It was about making sure people were okay. People were safe. People were in a safe apartment. It was, the climate was not freezing or too hot. And it started being its own reward. It wasn't so much the money, it was its own reward that I got to help this family or this person, whoever it is. And I remember I'd drive back home and I'd say, man, it's good that I got to be the guy that was able to find a solution for this problem. Sometimes, too, I started realizing there's a lot of people. We don't see it. I have my wife and daughters, and we go to the stores all the time. We go to the theater. We have this amazing life. But sometimes we don't see that there's people out there that nobody really visits them, or they don't have any family around, or a lot of them I know that all their family passed away, and it's just them. And we don't realize, we can't see it because we're so involved in our own lives. We don't see what's going on in other people's lives. And I get to go into these people's apartments and have conversations, and I can tell that they have a lot to share, a lot to offer, a lot to talk about, but they don't have anybody to talk to sometimes. And you're the maintenance guy, and you're there to fix their dishwasher, their refrigerator, and you're paying attention to what they're saying. And you start realizing that they're very interesting people, and they have a lot to say, and you start having these conversations, and sometimes you become even almost a therapist because you're the connection to a lot of the outside world. Yeah, and even simple stuff like, do you know a good mechanic, or and you have that information, you start sharing stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you start realizing that these people start becoming your friends. And they start relying on you because you're part of that community. They live there, and you're a really important part of that community. I started realizing really, really fast, too, that I'd see people in the morning and say, good morning, how are you? You have a great day. And there's a few tenants that told me, you know what, I almost rely on your good morning and you have a great day because you tell it to me and from the heart, so they could tell I really meant it. And some people started almost relying on me to say it. And I'd see somebody that was dressed really nice, and I tell them, you look great today, and you look sharp, or you look amazing today. And I started realizing that just a little compliment like that, or when you go into somebody's apartment saying, these are really nice decorations, or this is a beautiful painting, or beautiful photography, and stuff like that. And I started realizing that I was doing more than just doing the maintenance work. I started realizing that a lot of people were happy that I was there, that I was there to fix their whatever it was, and have a few minutes of conversation. I started realizing that this job, there's more to the pay. It's, of course, we all work for money. It's very important, and we could make more money. A lot of us could make more money doing something else. But we start liking this job. We start liking being the person that's there to help somebody, being of service to other people. And I really enjoy it. I really like it. I know a lot of maintenance guys that have been doing this for years, and they don't always say it, but I know they like it. I know the satisfaction they get from helping others. And this may not be a job for everybody. I realize that. And of course, I know some maintenance guys that they're just mean, or they're tired and they don't want to deal with it anymore. But most of the nice ones that I know, or most of the ones that I know, are actually really nice, and they do it for the benefit of helping others too. Because sometimes when you help somebody else, the one that gets benefited the most, of course, I believe in karma a lot, but even just not because of that, just because of your state of mind, helping somebody out actually really benefits you or me. In my case, I mean, when I get to be of service, I feel like I become a happier person. Not because somebody served me, because I was able to serve somebody. So in my case, it has always benefited me. And there's examples. For example, this lamp that's back here, I got it yesterday. Today is December 24th, 2022, the Christmas Eve. So we had a little party at the office yesterday, and one of the tenants gave me this. And it's amazing. Alicia, if you ever watch this video, thank you very much. And you start becoming part of people's lives. I'm not going to say like a family or so much as a friend, but as an intricate part of their lives. Of course, at work, I want to thank also Sulma, a friend of mine. She's our leasing agent. She gave me this. She's been friends for many years. Me and her husband, Saul, been friends for many years. Also, Denise made these cups for the maintenance guys, and this is mine. And thank you, Denise. And over the years, I've gotten many gifts, many gift cards, money. A complex that I worked at one of the tenants, my grandfather had passed away, and she actually made a painting of my grandfather riding on a horse and gave it to me. And I almost cried. I still almost want to cry because people are actually amazing. You get to be part of their lives. They get to know you. There's a benefit more than just the money. There's a benefit to this kind of work. And like I said, it's not for everybody, but definitely for me. And I know there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way. If you're interested in this type of work, it's hard at the beginning, but you can turn this into an amazing job. Serving others, to me, is something that makes my life really meaningful. And not just fixing a refrigerator, also being people's friends, being part of people's lives. And there's hard parts to it too, because there's tenants that have passed away that I really liked, that I had hours of conversations with, and then they're gone. And they hurt too, but only because I really cared. Anyways, I hope this video helps somebody out. This is not a negative video about maintenance. This is actually a positive video. That's the reason why I'm still doing this, and that's the reason why I know a lot of maintenance guys are still doing this. And I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a very successful 2023.